The 49ers were back in action on day one of the draft, selecting wide receiver Ricky Pearsall with the 31st overall pick. Here to break it all down with us is President of Football Operations and General Manager John Lynch. Congratulations on a first-round pick.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited. I think our first pick this year, Ricky Pearsall, kind of emblematic of what we like doing, and that's, gaining consensus on a player. And this one we didn't really have to work for. Everyone kind of liked him throughout the process. And, we put a lot of time and effort into looking at all the data. And what we do know is that when our whole organization is in on some player, we hit at a really high rate. And he was one of those guys that we felt tremendous, not groupthink, but just every angle we looked at him from, every perspective that we looked at him from, we appreciated his game more and more. It's very consistent. It's very dynamic. He's a really good athlete, 42-inch vertical, tremendous separation skills, plays strong, really good hands, can play inside, outside. So kind of did everything we covet. Punt returner, so we think that lends well to being good with the ball in your hands. A lot of the things we believe in and we like, and we add them to an already really strong wide receiver class.
You spoke about a lot of the strengths. He checks several boxes, including also detailed route runner, soft hands, everything you'd want in a slot guy. But his draft stock really rose later in the pre-draft process. When did he become a really high interest guy for your team?
Well, I think when you put good film out there, we've known about Ricky for a long time. I'm good friends with Herm Edwards. I remember Herm telling me about him his true freshman year. Hey, we got this kid. He's a local kid and wasn't like overly highly recruited, but man, they knew they had a player right away. So I had my eye on him for a long time. Our scouts have, but in our process, I think right away, and then you go down to Mobile, the Senior Bowl. He had a really strong Senior Bowl, and you got to see his athleticism against the top players in college football. You also got to see that at Florida in the SEC. And, I think through every part of the process, he shined. Probably ran better than people thought he'd run. You can see his vertical at play. Just a really good, good in every aspect. And I think that, when we turned on his film, just consistently making plays and doing dirty work as well, playing really tough. So a lot of the qualities we really enjoy. Now he's got to come do it and put the work in.
You've spoken at length about the collaboration between the coaching staff and the personnel department to make these draft decisions. How often is it that you get that consensus pick like Pearsall?
Yeah, it's not always, and so sometimes somebody's got to make a decision, and Jed has charged myself and Kyle to do that. But we listen to everybody. We really do. And, it's not just coaches and scouts. It's R&D. We value their opinion. Just different checkpoints, cross-checks, looking at it from as many different perspectives as you can. But it is really cool when you get consensus because our data shows when we do that, we hit at a really high rate. And, that's exciting that this guy was one of them. We always aren't beholden to that. Sometimes we just have a feel and say, hey, we're going to go get this player. But this one, it was easy because everyone liked him. There were some other players who we had consensus on, but, Ricky stood out as the right guy at that time.
This organization prides itself on drafting and developing guys. There's been a lot of recent success with pass catchers. What's the first step in integrating Ricky into this very intricate Kyle Shanahan offense?
Yeah, I think, when I called him, he was somewhat reserved. It's always a cool moment to hear them and their reaction. He got quiet, but he told me one thing. He said, Coach, he's just called me Coach, but he said, Coach, you're getting a workhorse. And I found that really interesting because that's what he looks like on tape. He looks like a guy who comes to work. From what I know about him, he's a hard worker. And I think that's where it always starts. When you're willing to put in the work, you have the talent that he has, he can thrive. But he's there's just to crack this lineup. There's a lot of good players, but I think he'll be up to the task. And now you got to go prove it.
You've said that every draft pick is an opportunity to improve this roster. How did the roster get better with the addition of Ricky Pearsall tonight?
Just a good, solid football player who embodies what we want 49ers to look like. He does the things it takes, to be a player in this league. He did that in college. Now there's always that transition, but we believe his skills will translate. We believe his work ethic always translates, and we hope it's a pick that we're proud of for years to come.
Thank you so much for your time. I know the faithful are very excited to see 9 more picks coming up over the next 2 days.
Yeah, so are we. Thank you.